When Israeli forces go into Gaza, they know the challenges they will face. And the Israelis are telling the world how Hamas has prepared for this war by exploiting the very people of Gaza, stealing water pipes to build rockets and concrete from schools for their terror tunnels. An IDF video is publicizing just that.
Have you ever wondered what happens to humanitarian aid in Gaza? UNICEF and the EU have spent over €2 million building water pipes all throughout Gaza. Hamas digs them up out of the ground and turns the material into rockets that they fire at Israel.
So how will Gaza operation unfold? Joining us now is Hanya Naftali, an IDF soldier who's deployed right on the front lines, waiting for the order. And Hanya, thank you very much for joining us. What is your mood like? How are the spirits of you and your colleagues as you prepare for this? How are you doing?
Well, first of all, I have to say we are resilient, we are staying strong, and Israel's mission is actually to dismantle Hamas because, listen, Hamas, Islamist terrorists, infiltrated Israel, massacred over 1,400 Israelis, including children. They raped women. They burned people alive with their hands tied behind their backs, not to mention the kidnapped civilians. So if that would happen to your community in America, you surely would want an army to get in there and to finish. 1,400 murdered in one day in a country of 10 million people. That's equivalent to 50,000 Americans killed in one day. So when 9/11 occurred, nobody said we understand both sides. Hamas is ISIS. Hamas is the enemy of global peace, not just Israel. And we are prepared to defend not just our borders, but our families.
You know, some of the advocates here in the United States, when they take to the streets, they talk about demanding a ceasefire. Is Hamas living up to that?
Well, I have to say, when the world fought against Hitler, they didn't call for a ceasefire. You can't negotiate and you can't talk with an organization. How can we make peace with people that burn our civilians alive? So the sole mission is to dismantle Hamas. And it is true that there is a humanitarian crisis inside the Gaza Strip, but it is caused by the Hamas terror group. They are holding Palestinian people as hostages, operating from within densely populated areas against Israel. They don't care for Palestinian people. Israel, on the other hand, has called for peace, made peace in the Middle East. Israel is clearly not an obstacle for peace, but a solution, not the problem. Hamas is the solution, is the problem, not just in the Middle East, but to in the entire world.
And, you know, people pointing the fingers, some people, at Israel. But you have a good point. I mean, Hamas is responsible. They not only are responsible for the war because of this attack, but they are responsible for governing the Gaza Strip. And as we saw the IDF video, they have, you know, turned that inside out.
That's absolutely. Civilian casualties are on Hamas's hands. We saw the cost of these terrible war crimes that they have committed. The entire world is rightfully outraged, but this outrage is should be directed not at Israel, but at the terrorists, because Israel's war is not just our war. You think that these radical Islamist terrorists are going to stop with Israel? Of course not. They have a radical ideology, a radical idea to take over not just Israel, not just the Middle East, but they're coming for Europe and America if they're not stopped right here and now.
Yeah, Hamas leaders, some people don't know this, have also talked about wiping out Christians, for example, not just Jews. You talk about the operation that we may soon see unfolding. There is first Defense Minister Gallant says destroy Hamas, take down the infrastructure, then go after pockets of resistance, then establish a broader security, kind of a demilitarized zone to protect Israel. How do you think these three phases that he explains will start? What do you see unfolding over the next few weeks?
Well, first of all, I have to say that the sole mission and the focus right now would be to dismantle Hamas. Israel is not interested in more front lines, but it is definitely prepared and ready to defend its borders, because as we have seen, we saw the true colors of Hamas. It's not just about defending our borders. It's literally about defending our families. When I was deployed, when I was sent to the front line, I knew that I'm not going to just defend my border and my country. It's about defending our families. Because when Hamas infiltrated Israel, they went straight to civilian homes. They launched rockets. When they launched their rockets, they launched them straight into Israeli civilian houses and towns. So it's a crazy reality. I just want Americans to think for just 1 second. Do you know where is the nearest bomb shelter near you? How would you react if you came under rocket fire in New York City, Miami? It's an insane reality, and Israel has not just the right, but the duty to defend its people.
Adnan Naftali of the IDF, thank you. The vast majority of Americans are with you and the Jewish state facing this radical Islamic terrorism. Thank you. Please stay safe as we go through the next few weeks, of course.